Known as the CG of the countryside, the Bros is the best selling in its category. But is it really worth it? If you're new here, I'm Amanda Pagliari. This is the most charming Motoplay channel in Brazil. And in this video, you'll find out everything about the Brothers 160 2023 from Honda, like technical features, fuel consumption, city and highway performance, and insurance costs. And of course, my honest opinion with the pros and cons. The NXR 160 Bros has been a leader since its launch. It started as the 125, then 150, and then 160. In total, more than 2.5 million units have been sold, and over the years, Honda has been evolving its model. And the last change we had was in 2021. There's a video here on the Motoplay channel with all the changes in detail. I'm not going to focus on the changes, okay? So the video doesn't get too long, but if you want to know more details, go to the link that's here in the description and also in the card after this video. Since the previous version, Honda had already done away with the different versions, right? Leaving only one Bro. And now, for 2023, that's still the case. We only have the Bros in the ESTD version, which is essentially the top tier Bros. And I have to agree here with Osawa. I really like this color. I thought it looked discreet, but it also looked classy with this shade of gold. By the way, all the questions I'm going to answer here in this video were sent to me on Instagram. If you're not following me yet, you're missing tips, behind the scenes, videos, and more. Go there, Amanda Pagliari. The link is also in this video's description. And continuing here, Perez asked me, regarding the finish, we need to consider that it's a 160cc motorcycle. It's not an Africa Twin, but I liked it for what it is. I liked the finish. In fact, one of the latest changes we had was regarding the fairings. The tank here is still metal. However, this fin here is different, giving the motorcycle a more robust look. And I like it because it uses different types of textures, so that ends up bringing more refinement to the bike. The Bros is a motorcycle in the trail category, which means it's for all terrains, both asphalt and off-road. We can see these features in its design. Starting here, look, high fender, right? And we have spoked wheels with a 19-inch rim in the front and a 17-inch rim in the back, okay? It uses dual-purpose tires with inner tubes. Another feature is the high exhaust. And here we have, look, an accordion boot on the fork. This provides more protection against rocks and dust, increases durability, and also makes it look more robust. It has a suspension travel of 180 millimeters in the front and in the rear. We have a monoshock with 150 mm of travel. As for the brakes, both wheels have discs. 240 mm diameter front, 220 mm diameter rear. And it comes with a combined braking system. If you don't know the difference between ABS and combined braking system, I made a very complete video. The video is here in the description and also in the card, okay? But just to summarize, when you press only the rear brake, it also distributes braking power to the front brake. And Antonio? Unfortunately, we don't have an ABS anti-lock system. On the Bros, in fact, its direct competitor, the Crosser, does have this system, but the Bros doesn't, unfortunately. Just like what you mentioned here. LED lights, meaning the headlight, turn signals, and tail light all use conventional bulbs. It also includes the passenger handle integrated with the luggage rack. That's really good because you can put a trunk here. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with a center stand. On the left side, there's a small glove compartment where you can access the tools, okay, and leave small objects if you want. It works with a key, and closing it is also very simple. Regarding the seat, it's a single type, okay? It has a slight curve here for the rider, so it's a single seat with 2 levels, okay? And what about its outer material? It has a non-slip texture, which is really good and prevents you from slipping on the seat, especially in the rain. Regarding the height, it is 83.6 centimeters from the seat to the ground. I'll get on here so you can see. I'm 1.77 meters tall, so for me, the motorcycle fits well and I can put both feet on the ground. And to answer you here, Batista, look, with 165, it might be a little difficult for you to ride the Bros, okay? Someone here asked about the recommended height. I think it's about 1.67 or 1.68. From there, it already starts to get good. But of course, as I always say, go to the dealership, take a test ride, or at least get on the bike so you can see if it really fits you. Guys, it's very comfortable, not just here, but the leg angle and handlebars are also good. For me, it fits really well, very comfortable, and it's a super light little bike. It's 122 kilos of dry weight. That is not counting the fluids in the fuel tank, which has a capacity for 12 liters of gasoline or ethanol, because it's flex fuel. And the Bros comes with a single-cylinder engine with air cooling, which has 162.7 cubic centimeters and generates 14.5 horsepower on gasoline and 14.7 horsepower on ethanol. At 8,500 revolutions per minute, the torque, however, is higher on ethanol. It's 1.6 kilogram force meter on ethanol and 1.46 kilogram force meter on gasoline. Guys, that's at 5,500 revolutions per minute, and it has a final chain drive and a 5-speed transmission. And Jonathan here wants to know if it comes with a USB port or any kind of outlet. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Regarding whether I recommend it for beginners, yes. So, Fagner, you can buy this motorcycle for your wife. However, make sure she is tall enough to put both feet on the ground. The Bros is a tall motorcycle, and I always tell beginners to start with bikes where they can put both feet on the ground. I actually started with the Bros too, you know? When I left the scooter, the first real motorcycle I had was a Bros. Back then it was a 150. So I can definitely recommend it for beginners. And now look, another question here. Do I recommend it for making deliveries, for working with it? Yes, I do recommend it. The Bros is a comfortable motorcycle, ideal for spending all day on it thanks to its long suspension travel. It's more comfortable, so it handles bumps really well, even though it's used on all kinds of terrain. There are streets in São Paulo that, oh my God, have more potholes than Swiss cheese, so I definitely recommend it. Not just due to the suspension, but also the riding position and comfort, since it uses the same engine as the CG. So if you're thinking about buying a CG or a Bros, and if you're also tall, maybe the Bros is the best option for you. Regarding the dashboard, we have a fully digital blackout type dashboard here. It's a dashboard with good visibility, but it's a simple one, guys. Here we have a fuel gauge, a clock up here, the total odometer, and just one trip meter. Look, and here the speedometer. We don't have a tachometer, gear indicator, or any other information. All right? Here outside we have the indicator lights, right? So, for example, here you have the right turn signal, left turn signal. Here it shows the neutral position, okay? Those are the only pieces of information. And here on the left side, we have the horn, the turn signals, and here we have the high beam and low beam switch. There is no flasher. And here on the right side, we have the button to cut off the engine power, here to enable it, and here the ignition button. And the levers are not adjustable. And now, let's take advantage of the fact that the rain has gotten heavier. I'll ride the Bros 160 and wrap up the video discussing fuel consumption, insurance costs, and pros and cons. But before that, if you're enjoying this video, how about leaving a like and also subscribing to the channel, okay? That motivates me to make new videos. Now come ride with me as my passenger in the rain. The rain caught me. Now it stops a little and I'm here in São Paulo riding around on the Bros 160. Oh, this little bike is so nice. Great for riding in the city, agile and light. Soon I'll test it on the road so you can see, and I'll give you my opinion on how it does on the highway. I'm riding it in the city now, which I think is its natural habitat, right? In my opinion, the Bros is much more comfortable than the Titan, for example, or the CG, at least for me, right? Because I'm tall, I end up in a comfortable riding position. its height doesn't bother me, right? It has bigger wheels, the 19-inch front. It doesn't bother me since I'm tall. But if the person is shorter, then there's no way around it, right? They'll have to go with a CG, for example. But wow, for the city, this bike is a delight, really a delight. Go ahead and leave a like. I got caught in the rain here with it. Look where the tank is. I got caught in the rain, but I'm still making this video a full review so you can see its performance. In the city, I have nothing to complain about. A comfortable bike. As for the brakes, it brakes well, but if it had ABS, it would bring more safety for us motorcyclists. At least on the front wheel, it would help a lot. At least Honda got rid of that version with drum brakes on the rear, thank God. So that's it, guys. The Bros is approved for the city, really. It delivers performance. Even its size helps to get through traffic. I thought it was good. Of course, it does have a slightly wide handlebar, but for me, in my opinion, nothing that gets in the way of lane splitting. So I think the Bros really is a good bike for riding in the city in heavy traffic. Look at how many patches there are on this street. And the suspension handles it so well, I don't even feel it. Wow, it's really nice. All-terrain tires, tough ones, they handle it, little accelerations here. That's it, guys. Now let's ride the Bros on the road. Let's take her on the highway. Well, guys, out here on the road, the Bros is just like that. Slow and steady. You can even go over 120 kilometers per hour, which is the speed limit, but it takes a lot of effort, of course, really pushing the bike. The vibration, I feel, is normal for a single-cylinder bike. It's not something that bothers me much. The vibration doesn't really bother me. What bothers me is the engine noise. It sounds like the bike is struggling. Going downhill with the wind at your back, picking up speed, you can even reach around 130 or so, okay? But it's an urban bike, okay? So its purpose isn't for you to travel or hit the road, though you can do that with it, okay? These cables here, they don't block my view of the dashboard, okay? It just looks ugly, but if I say the dashboard is bothering me here, I'd be lying. All right. It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to do a test on the ground in this video, but in the launch video, we went to Ilha Comprida. And we drove a lot off-road there. We even drove it on the sand. It was really cool and fun. I'll leave the link in the description, also in the card, so you can check out its performance. It's great, right? The suspension and travel are really good. A downside on the road is that it's so light. In the city, that's great, right? You can ride around with a lot of agility. On the road, it's really light. So what happens? You don't have that much stability when you're going 120, 130. With it, the bike won't have that sturdiness to keep you safe. In other words, any side wind or a truck passing by really fast, you're going to lose stability, okay? So take that into consideration. When you're on the road with the brothers, either hold on tight to the tank and go or pick up speed. That's how it is. It doesn't have that much power. When you're at high revs, you can't even tell what revolutions per minute you're at because it lacks a tachometer, right? But on the road, it's a makeshift solution. And that's it. Now let's wrap up the video with the pros and cons, fuel consumption, and insurance cost. Click, quote, done. And regarding fuel consumption, John sent me a question. He wants to know roughly what the fuel consumption is. We know it also depends a lot on how much you accelerate the bike and whether you're carrying weight or not. That all impacts the Bros fuel use. Well, on a calmer trip, without accelerating too much and without a passenger in the city and on the road, it averaged 34 to 35 kilometers per liter. All right, but that will depend on whether you're carrying a heavy load, if you're too heavy, or if you keep accelerating. Of course, it will consume more, but if you still ride calmly in the city, it can do even better. But if you have a Bros 160, what's your motorcycle's fuel consumption? Write it here in the comments so we can know. And now I'm going to talk about the positive and negative points of the Bros 160. Of course, remember that this is just my opinion. I'm not the owner of the truth. You have every right to agree, disagree, or even add to it as long as you use the comments respectfully. First, make sure you're subscribed to the Motoplay channel, Brazil's most charming and honest motorcycle channel. This is my honest opinion, starting with the positive points. The first one is the bike's handling is fun to ride, light, and great for dealing with heavy traffic and lane splitting. So, for those looking for an agile motorcycle to escape traffic or who are just starting out in the world of two wheels, the Brabus has great handling. Another plus is its reliability. It rarely breaks down. Like I told you, it's the CG of the countryside, so it really has a much more robust engine, handling, and frame. It's tough and requires little maintenance, so I think that's a positive point. Versatility is another positive point of the Brabus. So you have the possibility to ride it both on asphalt and off-road on dirt. That's good, guys, because it has good suspension travel and it comes with mixed-use wheels, spoked wheels. It's better prepared than a CG. You can ride a CG on dirt, though. But the Bros is more robust, better suited for dirt roads, offering complete safety and durability. Because it was made to handle this kind of terrain. Another plus is the riding position, making the motorcycle comfortable for long rides. If you use it for work, for example, for deliveries, it will give you comfort in terms of suspension and riding position. The seat could be better, I'll talk about the negative points in a moment, but overall, yes. It's a comfortable motorcycle, also good for carrying a passenger. If you're carrying a passenger in the city, since it's meant for urban use, it's not for you to take elsewhere. It's a trail bike, not a big one for the highway, guys. If you're going to give a ride, for example, to your wife or your husband, if you're going to ride in the city, often you can take a passenger because this bike has that comfort in the seat. Another highlight of the Bros is the suspension. It's sturdy, really good, and now with this accordion-style cover, it's even better. And the last item, but not least, is the fuel efficiency. Not just fuel efficiency, but also because the engine is flex fuel, so you can choose whether to fill up with ethanol or gasoline, giving customers more options. So that's a positive point, and now let's talk about the negative points. And the first negative point, I know you'll agree with me. This cable here going over the Bros, oh my God. Some people call it a clothesline. I really think it's a negative point because of the aesthetics, so the competitors don't have this. Of course, since it doesn't have the fixed front, it moves. So for sure, the cables need to be flexible, including for the suspension travel as well. But couldn't Honda find a different solution for its Bros? For example, its direct competitor, the Crosser, doesn't have this messy look. That's my opinion, and I think it's yours too. Write in the comments if you agree that these cables showing is a negative point. Another thing that could be improved a little, in my opinion, in the future is the seat. After riding several kilometers, I found the seat a bit hard, especially above 100 kilometers. In daily city use, I didn't notice this discomfort. I thought it was nice that now it has this non-slip material, but maybe in the future they could add a little more foam to make it more comfortable. I'm emphasizing again that this issue with the hard seat, I think that above 150, 200 kilometers, you start to feel a bit of discomfort with this seat, okay? And speaking of trips, I don't think it's good for traveling. Of course, you can travel even on a biz. I have a friend who traveled on a biz from 25 to Latin America, so you can even travel by bicycle if you want. This motorcycle is made for city use, but I know some people will still take it on the road. Travel across Brazil on a Bros 160. But to answer you here, Letitia, you can travel slowly and steadily. Just go easy on the throttle and it won't be a problem. Then there's no problem. You can go with a Bros 160. Like I said, it's meant for city use. On the road with a passenger, the performance drops a little. So if you're going to ride with a passenger on the highway, it might not be the best option for you. Another drawback is the outdated dashboard. I agree with you, Lindomar. I think the Bros dashboard deserved an upgrade, more information. For example, the Crosser, which is its direct competitor, already has a gear indicator. And here on the Bros, we only have one trip meter. There's no A and B, just one trip, no fuel consumption, no gear indicator, let alone a tachometer. So who knows, maybe in the future, Honda will upgrade its Bros 160. A welcome upgrade. Who knows about the future? A small LED headlight would suit the Bros 160 well. Not only because of the lighting power, which would bring more safety, but it would also use less battery. Speaking of safety, I think Honda falls even shorter here. Even though they care so much about safety, is the side stand, the kickstand, which doesn't cut the engine current. So I'll explain it to you in practice. You come here, I started the bike. It's only in neutral, right? I'm downshifting now to a lower gear. It keeps going. In practice, what kind of safety risk does this bring to us motorcyclists? In practice, you might end up forgetting the kickstand down, the side stand, and you could have an accident. I've seen a lot of people with this problem. Amanda, do you get used to it? Okay, maybe, but all it takes is one distraction. You could have an accident because of this lack of resources, which is the sensor that could cut the motor's power when this item is activated, actually triggered. So I think, in my opinion, that's a negative point. And last but not least, there's the price. Oh my God, that's my opinion. Amandina's opinion. The Bros is a little expensive for what it offers, but it's the sales leader in its category, so people must be thinking the price is good. Do you agree with the price of the Bros? Write it in the comments. Another controversial point that people are talking about online is about the engine, right? That this 160 engine is bad, it's made of plastic, it's no good. Look, I don't know, I'm not God and can't know everything. However, nevertheless, you have to use a little bit of logical reasoning. This engine, also used in the CG, powers the country's best-selling motorcycle. You could say that at least 80% of motorcycles in Brazil have this 160 engine. In other words, out of every 10 motorcycles sold, 8 have this engine. If this engine had to be opened after 60,000 kilometers, there wouldn't be any space left in Brazil's workshops. For so many motorcycles, don't you agree with me? I think there can be, of course, a problem with one motorcycle or another. Yes, it can happen. I'm not saying the motorcycle is perfect. However, I think that going there, pointing out the mistake and saying, no, I have a chronic problem with this and that, you need to analyze it more carefully since, as I said, it's the best-selling motorcycle in Brazil. This engine is heavily used for deliveries and by fleet owners. They buy both the CG and Bros models, which share the same engine. So, in my opinion, for the number of motorcycles sold in Brazil with this engine, I think maybe the rate of problems is very low if you compared it to another motorcycle. It's possible that even other brands, other models have a higher rate of problems than this engine. 160, of course, I'm not the owner of the truth. I'm just doing a logical reasoning exercise. Like I said, I'm not God to know everything. But also, don't fall for those influencer YouTubers who just spread hate to get likes and views. In my opinion, we need to put the data on the table and do a critical analysis. I'm not sponsored by Honda or any car maker, but I always use logic and the well-known Tico and Teco. And it's available in 3 colors. With a suggested retail price starting at 17,960 reais plus shipping. Just a reminder, guys, this is the suggested retail price from Honda. It varies depending on the state because of taxes, okay? Plus, each dealership can set any price they want since the Ferrari law allows it. Before ending the video, I'll answer a question someone asked me as I promised to do directly. So, is the Bros 160 worth it? Well, in my opinion, it's expensive for what it offers, but let's look at it this way. If your city only has a Honda dealership, you'll need to see if the Bros is your best option. According to the information I shared in the video, now if in your city, for example, there's a Yamaha dealership, then consider comparing it with the Crosser and, if possible, test riding both to choose the best option for you. There's a video on the updated Crosser 150. Find the link in the description or the card and check it out later. Well, guys, in my opinion, answering Augusto here, I think it's expensive, unfortunately. And so if you have the money to upgrade, you could already buy an XRE 300, for example, or a Lander. then it's worth it if you're going to hit the road often. For city riding, the Bros 160 or XRE 190 is great, okay? Now, if you're going to ride like, I don't want to go every weekend or once a month, twice a month, hit the road to travel or to visit relatives, whatever, especially with a passenger, then yes, in my opinion, it's worth it. You should get a Lander or XRE for better road performance. This bike may be a bit disappointing on the road. Like Vitor mentioned, right, that he thought the engine was a little weak. Poor thing, like I said, it's slow and steady with a passenger or heavy load, poor thing. Then it really goes back to its limit again. This motorcycle is built for city use, not for highway trails. And another question I get asked a lot about Bros or XRE 190, which one do I prefer? Is it worth spending a bit more for the XRE 190? There's a video on the channel about the XRE 190. I'll put the link in the description and cards, so check it out. But I'll answer you right away without sitting on the fence because that's just how I am. I think it's worth it. At 190, so the XRE 190 has more engine, more presence, more refinement, and better finish than the Bros 160. It goes faster. I have already tested it here with a passenger here on the channel, and I found the performance to be much better. But like this? Another point that needs to be taken into consideration, I think the XRE 190 has a more urban purpose. So the engine is painted black, it has more little details. I'm not sure if the fairing on the XRE 190 is as robust as the one on the Bros. I know if I fall with this bike, the fairing will likely be fine due to its robust design. I'm not sure if falling with the XRE 190 would damage the fairing or how much it would cost to fix. So in my opinion, for those looking for a bike that's ready for anything, that's really going to take a beating in daily use, that's going to get rough with the bike, I think the Bros has the tougher, more rugged proposal. Now, if you're not going to ride that much in extreme conditions, you can go with the XRE 190 and also, of course, take good care of the bike, right? Other than that, my final decision is the XRE 190 is a much better bike than the Bros 160. What's your opinion? Do you have an XRE 190? Let me know in the comments. And that was the complete review of the Bros 160. I want to know if you liked the video. Leave a like, share it with your friends in WhatsApp and Facebook groups. I'm sure they'll enjoy hearing my complete opinion, the positive and negative points about the Bros. There are a lot of people thinking about buying this motorcycle, and this video will definitely help a lot. Product links are in the description. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, because every week there's a new video here on the Motoplay channel. There are even videos about new releases here. With all the Bros changes, I'll leave details here in the description and on the card. See you next time, Moto Kiss. Subtitles by Sonia Roberti.